Good evening. My name is Roberta Parks, and I'm with the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria. And on behalf of the League, the Pekin Public Library, the Pekin Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Dirksen Congressional Research Center, we'd like to welcome all of you to our second forum of the evening, this time for the office of Mayor of Pekin, Illinois. We really appreciate the audience that's here. We appreciate those folks who are streaming. Just for everybody in the room, we had 50 people streaming during the council candidate. This is a record attendance, I have to tell you. So just for a moment, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We do not support candidates or parties. We do take positions on issues after a lengthy study process. One of the things that this league does, we think reasonably well, is a lot of voter education. A lot of that is through these forums. We've been doing these for many years. They're done by leagues all around the country, and it is a way for you to hear directly from the candidates. So we hope you walk away from here this evening with a little bit more information before you vote, either through early voting, vote by mail, or on April 4th at your polling place. And with that, I will turn it over to Shelley Epstein, who is going to be our moderator for this evening. He'll run through the rules and we'll get going. Please, we have cards if you want to fill out questions. He's got some of the questions from the council one, and we had some others prepared. But please feel free to fill out a question on a card, and we'll collect them and give them to Shelley. You're off and away, Shell.
Thank you, Rob. Good evening. I'm Podlam Land. But mostly I want to thank you all for coming. It says a lot of good things about the city of Pekin and your interest in your community. Nothing more important than engagement. So bravo to you. I would ask tonight, let me introduce tonight's candidates. These are three candidates running for mayor, and we drew cards for positions. Starting to my right, Dave Nutter, Mary Burress, Becky Cloyd. I've asked them to stand the entire time, so I'm not the only one standing up. But also it would be easier than them bouncing up and down since we don't have 8 folks like that. So we're going to start with an opening statement. Dave's going to begin that, and then we'll move down the line from there. Again, please turn off your cell phones. I ask you, as you were for the council session, to be respectful. No applauding, no hissing. You can only laugh at me. That's the only thing. Candidates will have 2 minutes to give an opening statement. Each candidate will do that. And then for questions, unlike for the council, these folks will have 1.5 minutes to answer each question since there's only 3 of them. But we will get done at 8:30, not 7:30, that would be short. 8:30, so we're going to move in and out. And I'll try to enforce the time, and I know you will stay within that. We have timers again. They're very smiley and helpful. They'll wave a paddle at you when your time is up. And if you don't abide by the stop panel, then we'll pull you out. We also have people getting questions. By the way, got a boatload of questions here from the audience, most of which we use, so I thank you for that. If you have more for the mayors, feel free, and they will get them to us. I can't guarantee we'll get to all your questions, but we'll get to as many as we can. So, if we're all ready, we'll start with the mayor candidates, and I'll start with opening statements by Dave Nutter.
Thank you. The big applause goes to you guys. You're here. That is great support. I'd like to see the council chambers filled up like this at every council meeting. That'd be great. Little background, I was born and raised in Peoria. There's a school up there called Woodruff High School. I graduated from there. I got an associate's degree in business administration, and I'm also an Army National Guard veteran. Family-wise, I have a rather large family. I got 6 girls. I'm lucky I still got hair. I got 17 grandkids and 15 great-grandkids. So if you wiped out the first 3 rows, my family would be here. So experience. Tough to put all the years of experience I got into a little time. But 32 years in CAP, my main jobs were in quality, purchasing, accounting, team leader in multiple aspects. spent 32 years down at Mapleton Foundry. We also put a team together to build a foundry from scratch in Toccoa, Georgia. I was on the ground roots of that, all the way from setting it up. Didn't even know what the place looked like. Couldn't even say Toccoa, Georgia. Ended up going to Toccoa, got the staff started, got the hourly people started. After I got down there in charge of quality purchasing and also a machine shop liaison up in North Carolina. So decided to retire from CAT and went to the almighty Walmart. Just thought, and yes, if you're gonna ask me if I was a cart pusher, yes, I was a cart pusher. So I basically set up another store, and that was the Morton Walmart. Didn't have a store, so I was one of the fortunate, I guess, to go from ground root again, build that up. Main interest there, I was in charge of all the inventory control on 2 shifts. Was a chairperson for their safety team, and quite a work experience, I will say that. As far as council, I've been on the council 4 years, learned a lot. And I'll just say this for the guys that are running now, 18 months is about the average. It will take you to learn what this system will do. As Councilmember Hill said, it's a learning experience. So thank you very much.
Mary Burress?
Well, thank you. And as they stated, I am Mary Burress. And for the last 48 years, my family and I have been proud to call Pekin our home. A little bit about myself. I have been Tazewell County Treasurer for the last 12 years. So I was elected 3 terms to that position. But it truly was an honor to serve all 135,000 people in Tazewell County, one of the largest downstate counties that Illinois has. But I want to take now my experience, my executive experience, my leadership, my financial experience to City Hall to be your next mayor. We need true leadership in the city of Pekin. With that, I want to take practical, proficient, and a positive attitude to lead this city forward in a new direction. We need to be focusing on the new 40 years ahead of us instead of the back 4 that are we just passed. We have to restore responsible government. By restoring responsible government, I mean we have to get our finances together. We have to have an audit done. We have not had an audit done in 3 years for the city. As being a treasurer, you have to have your finances in order. Second thing, we need to transform our local economy. We need to be more business friendly. We have to welcome more businesses in Tazewell County, in the city of Pekin, along with letting up on some of the rules, regulations, fines, fees. Make Pekin a more business friendly. Last but not least, citizen engagement. What I mean by that is the community, they have so much to tell us. We need to be listening to our community and our people out there. If we listen to them, they will help us make Pekin a more prosperous, beautiful city. So with that, I want to thank you once again. I ask for your support.
Thank you, Mary. Becky Cloyd?
Thank you.
My name is Becky Cloyd. Some of you know me, some of you don't. So this is my introduction. I am a mom of 5 girls. I actually grew up in Illinois, moved when I was 12 and moved to Georgia. I got divorced, came back to here. This is where I started my life. So I wanted to start over again in the place where I grew up. I came back to a community where many people came out. They reached out to help me, taking care of those girls on my own. This community to me is some place that I want to pay back. And I want to invest and pay back what was given to me at a very hard time in my life. I'm thankful for an opportunity to run for mayor. I am currently on the council, and I will be on the council for 2 more years, regardless of what the outcome is of the election. However, at this point, I'm thankful for this new opportunity. If you know anything about opportunities, a lot of people are resistant to change. people are afraid of change. I know this as a personal trainer when I try to help people lose weight, get ready for that wedding, whatever it is they're trying to do. But when it comes down to doing the work, it's a little bit more difficult. But as a trainer and as somebody who I do as a profession, I get people to move from point A to point B. I am anxious and excited about this opportunity. And sometimes when you walk up to a door, it seems open and it may slam in your face. But the difference is you have to walk through that door to achieve those resources and to complete the goal that you initially had. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky Cloyd. First question goes to Mary Burress. I'm going to give a brief preamble. I did this for a long time, Journal Star. First question we always ask candidates is, why do you want to do this?
Very good question. I kind of stated it when I gave my introduction, and that is we need true leadership in the city of Pekin, executive leadership. We have to focus forward in a new direction, pull together, unite. The morale at City Hall is very low. We have to bring that up. We have to be proud of Pekin by being positive. Attitudes are contagious, and they start from the top, and that will make the people around you be more positive. That is one of the main reasons why I am running, and that is to bring professional leadership and management to City Hall.
Thank you. Becky Cloyd.
That's a good question. It's not easy to stand in this position to say I want to run for mayor. It's a little daunting, especially if I've never done it before, and I have not. But I also know that I do care about this community. I do care about making a difference. And I want to live my life on purpose, with a purpose. And I want to connect, because everybody can communicate, but not everyone can connect. Connection is the difference between having a dialogue. If you're in a relationship, you can talk and exchange words, but that's not the connection. Connection comes from you knowing that you have been heard. You're not going to care what I have to say unless you first feel or believe that you are being heard. So one of the things I want to do as mayor is I would like to begin a listening tour where I come and I actually meet with business owners, residents, individuals throughout the 4-year term, because I want to hear you. I want to understand you. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. Dave?
It's my turn. I can't believe you asked that question. Why am I running? I never heard that question before. It's kind of unique. First of all, I thought it was stupid. Then I realized, no, there's a reason for this. Went back over almost 6 years. I started watching the meetings on TV, and I just kept shaking my head, going, what in the world is going on? Send questions into the council, never get an answer. Send questions to the mayor, never get an answer. Started going to the meetings, still didn't get any answers. So get my answers. I'm running for council and find out why I can't get the answers. There's answers out there. So that's how it all started. I've been on the council for 4 years and still learning. I learn something new every day. Today I learned something new from the police chief. Very enlightening information. We need to get a handle on our audits. We need to get a handle on the whole organization. We need to go back to the basics of this city and not all the fluff that we got out there, and that will be addressed later on. So, thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, next question. We're going to start with Becky Cloyd. I'd like you to be specific about this. What management, because the mayor is a complex job, we'll all agree with that. It takes lots of different skills. So what management experience do you have, and what is the most employees you have had to manage at any one time?
I've managed a house of 5 girls. I'm going to tell you right now, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's actually the hardest thing that anybody in this room has ever done in their life. So I think that trumps anything that might be said tonight. But in reality, I have not been a CEO of a company. But again, I will say that having 5 girls is just that. But I've had a lot of experience in several businesses. And what's really neat is that when I look back at all the experience in the jobs that I've had so many people who say, you have no idea what you want to do with your life. And I'm like, you're right. I've had a job in real estate, and I've been a personal trainer, and I've been barter and trade, and I've worked at mutual funds, and I've gotten my master's degree in counseling, and I've worked in addiction recovery, and all of these things. I think, wow, what do I want to do with my life? I know what I want to do with my life. I want to help people. I want to help people. So this helps me to help people. My experience, I don't have to be a CEO to manage. I just have to know what is the goal, what's the right thing. And you do the next right thing. And that's what I bring to the table, is a lot of experience, a lot of opportunities that I've learned and been able to acquire over a lifetime of different job opportunities.
Dave Nutter?
I'm gonna one up Becky. I got 6 girls.
Is that a requirement to run for mayor?
Get out of the house. So speaking of leadership, mine started way back when I was 20 years old. Myself and 3 other guys organized the first slow pitch softball league in Peoria. And that grew enormous. When I went to CAT, I was in a lot of leadership roles for quality, putting quality teams together, trying to reduce the scrap rates down at Mapleton. We cut it in half. It went from like 12% to 5% to 3%. And that all takes teamwork. You've got to lead a team to make it happen. The people at the grassroots are the ones that make it happen. On the sports side of it, I was one of the leaders that organized the Caterpillar Employee Motorsports Club. We had almost 1,200 people that were involved with that. And I don't want to bring up any bad things, but during the strike, I was the person that organized all the personnel, over 1,500 people, to work in the Mapleton Foundry over 4 temp agencies. So when it comes to leadership, I know what it takes. I know the heartache it takes. And man, you got to be thick-skinned and you got to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Mary Burress?
Well, thank you for that question. And I only have 1 daughter and 1 son and 5 grandchildren, all living here in the city of Pekin. But as being Tazewell County Treasurer, the most employees that I had under me was 7. Oh, can you hear me better now? Was 7 at one time, went down to 6. I tried to save the county as much money as I could. But with that, not only did I manage my office, you have to be able to work with every department in Tazewell County. That is the sheriff's department, anything from animal control, I used to say, to zoning, but zoning was changed to community development. So yes, I have the executive experience, I have the management skills, I have the communication skills to lead the city in a new direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next question, we're going to start with Dave Nutter. Do you support the city manager form of government, or is there an alternative you prefer? And if you want to weigh in on home rule, now's the time.
Thank you. That came up previously, and it all comes down to one thing. It doesn't matter what the form of government is, it takes leadership. And it's the leadership at the top that dictates what goes on below you. If you have the commissioner side, you better have 6 to 7 good commissioners that can work together with everybody and not have a personal agenda. That is just a killer in any organization. So you got to have a leadership at the top. With what we've got right now, I think we can do better, but it takes top leadership. If we went the other way, it's still leadership and dedication and devotion to the job that you want to do. So I think we're okay where we're at. We just got to get the leadership in the right places all across the organization.
Thank you. Mary Burress?
Well, as being mayor or on the council, you are one of 7 votes. But here's the real thing. It is a process. It is not up to just Mary Burress to choose if we are home rule or city management form of government or council form of government. It is the process that has to come to you, the voters. It is up to you, the voters, to say what is right for the city of Pekin. Leadership is key, and that is process has to be done properly.
Becky Cloyd?
I think the jury is still out on city management form of government. I'm not so sure that you've actually seen a good example of that. But what you have seen is you've seen a good old boy system. You've seen a mayor and a city manager who packed the staff with people that were not qualified for that position. There's been speculation of things stating that the staff is all cleared out. That's because change is coming. Change is coming to Pekin, and that's a good thing. So to say it's the city manager form of government is the problem, I beg to differ. I will tell you that the city manager form of government is not the issue. The issue is that we are, as Mary said, we are one among many, one among equals. We have 7 people on the council, but you cannot work in isolation at the exclusion of the others that are on that. And that, my friends, is what we're seeing right now in Pekin. The winds of change are here.
Thank you, Becky. I think we all answered that question, right? So the next question goes to Mary Burress. Should or is the mayor's role a full-time job?
You know, I think I'm retired as Tazewell County Treasurer, so I do have all the time in the world to be a full-time mayor. I understand it's a part-time position, but I truly think that if you are going to put your passion, your heart, and soul into it, it's more than a part-time job. You, when you're not at City Hall, you need to be out on the streets talking and communicating with your constituents. Yes, it would be full-time.
Thank you. Becky Cloyd?
Full-time being 40 hours. Is full-time 60 hours? I don't think it's a time limit. I think it's a heart limit. The quality of the time that you put into something. I know personally on that council, I have put many hours into this because I want to. I enjoy it. I've learned a lot. I can't say I enjoy everything about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not easy. But nothing good is easy. It takes work. It takes sacrifice. Sorry, it takes work and it takes sacrifice. Let me say that all over again. But nothing that's valuable comes easy. So to me, I would continue putting the same amount of time that I put in as a council member, and I work a part-time job. But it's worth it to me because I know Pekin is worth that.
Dave Nutter?
That's a great question. I make 10 cents an hour being a council member with all the research that we go through and look at. It is difficult. If you want to do the job right, you got to dig because you get a document and you wonder, what is it? Number one, you read into it, find out, I don't understand it. So who do you go to ask the question? You got to find the right person. You got to dig. You got to get the research. When it comes to the accounting side and budgeting, it's hard to do. I would, and I do on the council, I put in probably 40 hours a week, maybe, at least, I would say. And it's answering questions, sending emails, the whole bit. That's just part of the job. It's communication. If you don't communicate, you're not going to get anywhere. So it's important. It's the heart, like Becky says. You got to put in the time. You put in what you want to get out of it. If you want to be successful, you got to put the time in to make it work. So everybody's different. Yes, I'm retired too, and I've got the time most of the time, but I also take care of family too. So it's a balance. Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, next question. We're going to start with Becky Cloyd. Two of you are current members of the city council. In October, the council fired the city manager. Can you explain your vote? I'm not sure which way you went. And Mary, for you, how would you have gone about that differently? Becky, floor is yours.
As I mentioned earlier, the city manager at the time withheld information from the council at the exclusion of the council. That is not how city government is working or works or is supposed to work. However, it's been allowed to work that way for quite some time. The entire time I've been on the council, 2 years, I will say that I learned a lot from our city manager, but I also learned a lot of what not to do. And as mayor, that will not happen with our new city manager, and we will vet that person out, and they will know where their lane is, and the council will also know where their lane is, because we will not be able to function when you have too many people driving the ship, or you have 2 people driving the ship, because that is not fair, not only to the elected officials that were elected they were individuals elected, but it's not fair to all of you who want to have a voice, but it's stifled because of 2 people.
Thank you. Dave?
Well, since being on the council for 4 years, there are a lot of things that happened that can't be repeated and will not be discussed in public. That's just the ethical thing to do. A lot of the things that happened were not ethical. You don't step outside of your lane to make you look good. And 3 months later, find out you signed a contract with somebody that the council never approved. Not 1 time, not 2 times, at least 3 times. As a council member, I went to the city manager multiple times and this got stopped. Just ignore it. I'll tell you what, if I tell you to do something and you don't do it because I'm your boss, I know the discipline side of it. I've had to discipline people in the jobs. He just totally ignored it. And that's not the way to operate. We can't run a city that way, thinking everything's okay. And you find out 6 months later, it wasn't okay. Behind the scene contracts, different money being handed out, that doesn't work. So the decision was made. I voted yes to remove him, and I'll stand by that decision every day of the week.
Mary Burress?
Well, thank you very much for that question. And no, I don't have the privilege of being in City Hall at the time, but I do know from managing employees, it is done in like an executive session. It is done with HR and if they are a union member by their side. This individual wasn't a union member, but still, I don't believe that it should have been done the way that it was. It should have been done in some form of protecting the employee through an executive session.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm learning a lot about Pekin city government here. It's clear the council hasn't been the love boat for a while. So 3 months ago, after the city manager was fired, the mayor resigned. So Dave Nutter, we're going to ask you a pretty simple question. What the heck is going on with Pekin's leadership? And what can be done to bring it back together?
Repeat the last part.
What can be done to bring the council back together?
Well, takes a devoted leader. We knew the possibility that Mayor Luck was going to resign. We knew where the next step was going to be. But there's a lot of broken pieces in this. It's a big puzzle trying to put it back together. You got to have all the facts. You got to have everything that goes together to bring it back together. Everybody has got a different criteria or a set of agendas sometimes. We need to get We need to have a come to Jesus meeting. I'll just throw it out there. We need to really find out what's going on. But it's leadership. Somebody's got to step up. I'll step up. I've stepped up before, and I don't have a problem. And if you want to sit there and throw darts at me, have at it. But we're going to fix this problem. It's not going to fix itself. We can talk, but here's the key. You got to walk the talk. I've heard that my entire life, and when you do it, it works.
Thank you, David. Mary Burress.
I'd like for you to repeat the whole thing so I can answer it properly. Please.
Well, simply, it's what's going on with Pekin's leadership, considering the mayor resigned, the city manager was fired, and what can be done to bring the city council together to work as a group.
Perfect. Lack of leadership. Plain and simple. Lack of leadership is what's going on at City Hall. We have to bring executive leadership, management skills to City Hall. And you know, it starts from the top, just like I said. When you have the passion, the drive, the positive attitude, starting from the top, uniting people. I've united people my whole career, as far as I started working out part-time in the treasurer's office, working my way up. I do know how to work with all kinds of attitudes, all kinds of people, all kinds of parties. It is uniting, it is positive attitude, pulling people together.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Becky Cloyd.
Our founding fathers never meant for politics to be like this. That was not the plan. The plan was I would work, she would work, he would work, and then one of us would take the role of leadership to represent each other. That is what leadership is lacking. You. It's lacking all of us because you've been cut off. There's a line of demarcation saying, we are your leaders. No, we're not. We are you. We're representing you, or we should be. If we're not listening to you, we don't know what you're saying. That is what has been happening. It's been individual agendas. It's been individuals saying, well, I have this goal. I want to take advantage of my power to manipulate. That is the problem in politics. That is not the way we need to do things. We need to listen. We need to listen to you, because what you want is why we're here. And the goal was for me to step down and to let somebody else do it. This is not supposed to be a career. It's supposed to be people that live with each other, work with each other, communicate, and invest at the same time.
Thank you, Becky. Next question, we're going to start with Mary Burress. So I understand that if you get elected, you're one of many on the council.
Correct.
Okay, you have a city manager who
Correct.
bring things to you, but I want to know somebody get the door. I want to know your top 3 infrastructure priorities. Now you have to work with others, but what will you bring to the table and you want to get done?
As far as infrastructure.
Yep.
Infrastructure. We are, we're almost overwhelmed with how far we are behind. Our city engineer is working diligently to get things done. We have to finish Court Street. She is at a point where it is either right-of-ways or eminent domain. That does take time. We have to get Derby Street done. Next thing would be, you know, when we started out on Upper Court, those sewage lines and everything are 50 years old. You come downtown, our city is almost 200 years old. We have to take care of the sewage right along with our roads. And those are the 3 things: Court Street, Derby, sewage.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Becky Cloyd?
I never knew what infrastructure was until 2 years ago. Sad to say. But I did know what bad roads were because I rode them, and my car knew about it too. And I've heard all of y'all's stories too about the roads. Yes, the roads need to be done. We were told that we had funding to finish the project. We do not. So as council members, we have to make these difficult decisions. How do we get it done? And I tell you, we're getting it done by starting Monday. If you come to the council meeting, we are going to start cutting the budget. If we don't reduce our spending, I heard something asked about the new this or that, the fire station. We have to reduce our spending. We can't buy properties out to the wazoo because we want to build a road in 25 years. That's reckless. How's that benefit me? I'm probably not going to be here. Well, I hope I am, but it might not be. So we have to think local. We have to think changing our budget, and we are doing that starting Monday. So if you're interested, I would encourage you to come to the council meeting and hear about how we're going to cut the budget to be able to fix our roads. That should be number one priority from now until we get those roads fixed.
Dave Nutter?
Thank you. Back on the piano, there's a list of what I call my 5 S's. Obviously, streets are on there, sidewalks, sewers. There's a couple others. What we have to keep in mind, we've had these projects on the books for a long time. It takes almost 5 years from the time we decide to rebuild a road to get it started. 5 years, and hope you don't have a glitch in the program. And we do have one. We have a potential big glitch that's going to slow down Court Street. We got to work through it, but you don't stop. So I'm going to go beyond that. We know we're going to do Court, Derby. Hey, how about Broadway? Broadway needs done. We need to think forward with a plan. We don't have a plan. We're shooting from the hip on how to fix the roads. We need a 1, a 3, and a 5-year plan on infrastructure. We've got to start that. Without a plan, you go nowhere. We're just helter-skelter. We're working on sewers. Derby Street's been lined. The city's working on doing a bunch of cammering in the current sewers. And full disclosure, my son-in-law works for the street department. I've seen the pictures that's in these sewers, and it's nasty. And they're collapsing. So we've got to do those things, but we got to think beyond today. It's not just today. It's the future also.
Thank you, David. Next question, we're going to start with Becky Cloyd. Okay. How should the city better work with the Chamber of Commerce to support existing businesses and attract new ones?
We currently work with the Chamber of Commerce. It has been a confusing entity to many of the public because the Chamber of Commerce is a separate entity. They are not the city of Pekin. We should work closely with them as they are cited to bring in economic development into the community. And can you clarify the question again of what?
What should the city do to work with the Chamber of Commerce to support existing businesses and attract new ones?
I think that communication needs to be strengthened. Not just talking again, but connecting and understanding. I personally have not spoken except maybe one time with our Chamber of Commerce. That's kind of been, I would say that has been another entity that was filtered by our former mayor.
Thank you. Dave Nutter?
The chamber is a separate entity. It has their own business plan. They have their own set of objectives and goals. I think we can use the chamber as a tool in the toolbox to help us with that. And I also believe if the chamber, somebody comes to Pekin, Illinois and says, hey, Pekin Chamber of Commerce, I want to move here. What do you got? We ought to be able to sit there and hand out a handout and say, here's businesses, here's what you have to do to build a new home. This is what you got to do to reconstruct a home. We don't have that. So if we're gonna have a partnership has to work together and come up with some goals and objectives on what they're gonna achieve every year. Not just here's $60,000, see, I'll be back next year for $75,000. So it's a cooperative effort, not only just the chamber, it's the city. Sometimes, I hate to say it, it's the county's gotta be involved sometimes. So it's gotta be teamwork. That's what it is.
Thank you. Mary Burress?
Well, I have spoke with the Pekin Chamber, and if you look at a city that is a strong, united city, they have a good Chamber of Commerce, they have a good city that works with the Chamber of Commerce. That's what we need to do here. We need to, once again, unite, bring everybody together. They are a business. How can we make something grow without communication, without focusing forward, pulling people together, and making our community strong? Chamber of Commerce is one of them.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with David Nutter. What more can the city do to fulfill its DEI initiatives? DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion.
Wow, I get to go first on that one. Thank you. I don't know. I'll just be honest with you. I don't know what the right road is. It's gonna take a committee of some sort, not just individually with the city of Pekin. It's gotta be through the county. It's gotta be through organizations, be it churches. There's so many aspects of that to try to cover it. I don't wanna do it. I'm working on the homeless thing right now. I've been spending almost a year on it. And I'll tell you what, I got an education. That's just one little thing. So now you throw DEI and everything else out there. I don't know. I don't know how to do it.
Thank you. Mary Burress?
I am going to have you repeat the question again, please. It's a tough one.
The question is, what more should the city do to recognize its DEI initiatives? DEI being diversity, equality, inclusion.
Well, even though I am not for growing government, I don't know that having a communications person is such a bad idea. If you have somebody that can go out and communicate with the diversity that we have in the city, I think that would be one major step for all of us pulling together. So I think my first thing would be communication with an officer.
Thank you. Becky Cloyd?
Well, clearly, that's a question from you, somebody. And that's something that we, as a government, or as your leaders, or as your elected officials, should listen to. It's a very broad question that doesn't have a short answer. We do know there's lack of camaraderie, even within the council, even likely in your home. This isn't unique to Pekin's city council. It's about relationships. It's about how do you connect with everyone, not to exclude, but to understand. That's the heart of this issue. And it's the thread that's been through the theme this entire night. If you can't see it, I will say it again. We need to communicate with connection. And you only feel like we're connecting as if we hear you first. Once you feel understood, guess who has the buy-in? Guess who cares? Guess who wants to be involved? You do. We've lacked having your involvement. And this is going to help by having good communication and connecting.
Thank you very much. Next question, Mary Burress. Should Pekin have a historic district? Why or why not?
Excellent question. Each town is known for their own uniqueness. The city of Pekin has historical buildings. No other city has near as many as we do, even though we've had so many torn down. I've been here since 1975, and there has been a lot of torn down historical buildings. Why should we have it? It is what Pekin is known for. Look at our beautiful courthouse. It's over 100 years old. Look at the other buildings that are still left. They are gorgeous. I am not for destroying our beautiful history. If we don't have someone buy them, I hope that we can talk the people that do own some of the historical buildings into not destroying them. We should keep our history, as Pekin is known for.
Thank you. Becky Cloyd,
Repeat the question one more time, please.
should Pekin have a historic district? And if so, yes, and if not, why?
Thank you. I don't have to answer that question because guess what? Y'all already did. There's over 400 or 500 people on the Save Pekin website that just was started a few months back. That is you doing the change. We just listen. I can't say that enough. That's what we are supposed to be doing in government. We're supposed to be listening to you. And you've spoken. And it was evident at the last council meeting that we don't know what's going to happen to the arcade building or the Tobin building. But what we do know is that there are winds of change. And that's what you're seeing. And so I want to take that. I want to encourage you to say, come on, we can do this. I feel like I'm training right now. You can do this. Apart from counting reps, I know we can get from this point of change. That's hard because change is very difficult, but we can. And yes, I do believe we need a historic society because I'm going to tell you right now, when I moved back here, way back, I forgot the day. However, when I did move back here, I saw the lagoon. That's the first thing I wanted to go see. Why? Because I had childhood memories of that. There's something to be said about that history. And I have 15 seconds, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Dave Nutter?
Well, why would you ask that question? Why do we need a historic district? I think I know who asked that question. We wouldn't have been asking that question if there had been transparency, effective communication from the county. We wouldn't be asking that question. But I will tell you, in the city code, we already have a code set up for historic districts. It went defunct. The code's still there. It just needs to be activated. That's what it takes. I think we got a stimulus started. I think we got some great people in this town that would put their heart and soul into it. I could probably name 5 of them off the top of my head. And if we don't, we're just going to have things crumble and fall. But keep in mind, a historic building, to keep it and restore it, is going to cost some money. So if you have that desire, it's going to cost. And who's going to pay for it? And what do you do with that building after it's restored? Just have it look nice on the outside? The best thing is get a small businesses in there and generate some revenue from taxes, generate real estate taxes. Go for it. The stimulus is there now. Don't lose the momentum. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next question, I think we'll start with Becky Cloyd. And this came up in the previous session. The council has voted to construct a 4th fire station, but it has not proceeded. So the question is, should that proceed? And if so, is it my understanding that another will close, or is that an additional firefighters to staff that fire station?
Is that a 2-part question?
As many parts as you want.
Okay. Okay, don't start the timer yet. I have to think about this. Okay. Wait. Okay. We do not need to build the 4th fire station yet. we need to build and replace the Derby Street fire station. It is like walking into a third world country, and I'm not even gonna lie. I walked in there, and I've been to Lebanon, and I seriously thought I was back in Lebanon. I'm talking about Beirut, Lebanon. That is a third world country. And I'm telling you that fire station needs to be rebuilt. We can't even fit most of our trucks in there because it's just too small. We need to replace that. But until we can fix our roads, we don't need any more shiny and new. Not yet. Because we need to take care of our kids, so to speak. Like they say, the cobbler's kids have no shoes. That's what we've been doing in Pekin. We've got to address our family.
Thank you. Dave Nutter?
I've been in all those firehouses, and it's not pretty. The plumbing's not pretty, the roofs leaks in south side, it leaks in the north side. When it freezes and thaws, you can't get the trucks in and out. They knock the doors down because the truck won't fit in the bays. So the question is forestation. I'm gonna be neutral on that because we need to figure out where we're gonna build Derby Street first. Derby Street was the #1 priority and we haven't addressed it. Now, the other side of it is we've spent thousands of dollars on engineering. We bought a lot of property, and now we're sitting making the decision, do we go to 1? Do we build 2? Building 2 comes with a quantity discount. You build 1 at a time, it's gonna be expensive. I don't have the right answer. I don't have all the numbers or figures in front of me either to make that decision. But firehouses need to be built. They're past their time. Have we picked the right choices yet? No, I don't believe so. We need to find out where we're gonna build Derby Street. Why are we dragging our feet on that one?
Thank you, Mr. Nutter. Mary Burress?
Well, I have not sat in on the meetings of having a 4th fire station. I have, like Mr. Nutter, been in all 3 of that we have. Yes, we have to take care of some of them desperately. So until I haven't FOIA'd anything, I haven't bothered the city employees to really know if we really do, not that we need it. If we need something, yes. If we just want it, we have to be careful with taxpayers' dollars. So our first thing we need to do is get our finances in order, see exactly where we are, get an audit done. When you have an audit done, you are, at that point, you should be triple checked, excuse me. So you should be triple checked. You should know exactly where your money is. Maybe we do have the money that was coded and put into a fund that it shouldn't have been. Maybe we really do, but until that is done, we need to take care of what we have right now. But yes, 2 of those fire stations are in desperate need of replacing or repairing.
Okay. Next question. It's going to start with Mr. Nutter. I think I can say with some confidence that no one likes paying taxes and everybody wants lower taxes. But also, people want Derby Street fixed and they want garbage picked up and they want all sorts of things. So the question is, are there any taxes that you would like to see reduced or eliminated? Or conversely, are there any taxes that or fees that you think can be increased in the next 4 years?
Thank you for that multiple choice decision. Well, I do want to set something straight because here's a big misconception with taxes. Everybody's taxes go up this year. Anybody know?
Yes.
You know why they went up? Who knows why they went up? Huh? It's because of the assessed value of your property. The city has left the tax rate flat for almost 4 years. So know why your taxes go up. The city didn't raise it. The assessed value from the county is what raised it. I think there are a lot of taxes in the city, and I'll go out on a limb. I'd like to see the sales tax reduced. I'd like to see it reduced by 1%, not 1%, but reduce it down less than where it's at. It comes with a risk. It comes with a big risk. But if you lower things, are you going to get more people coming because you got a lower tax? People talk about 10%. Well, what if it's 8%? How about the gas tax? If the gas tax goes down, is that going to mean more people buying more gas? Maybe yes, maybe no. It is a heck of a balancing game to adjust the taxes and realize what you're going to get out of those taxes. Because you may be robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Mary Burress?
Well, I'm going to continue on with property taxes. Yes, if the city has kept their levy the same, and I know that because I was the tax collector, so I saw that. But here's the real problem, the real issue. When you run businesses out of town or they close because they can't afford to maybe keep up with their taxes that the city has implemented, I would like to see sales tax cut as well. But when you are running businesses out of town and not welcoming new ones because of all the fines, fees, taxes, and rules and regulations, you and I have to pick up that tax dollar that was just left behind. Because the levy's staying the same, but with that levy staying the same and businesses not paying in their amount, we are going to be short. And it comes up between you and I to make up the difference of the property tax that has to be collected. That's the plain and simple of it.
Thank you. Becky Cloyd?
I agree with both of these candidates. I believe that I would actually like to see the sales tax reduced. I don't know that we could actually reduce it by 1%, but I don't know that we can't. That sounds like an empty campaign promise, so I'm not going to promise that. I do think there's something to be considered. We're looking at the budget starting Monday. I think that is one of the ways that we could cut. I also would like to see the revisit the food and beverage tax. I think that would help businesses. It's pretty high. So I would like to see that reduced. However, I know that the property taxes that we pay from the city, most of our, if you look at your tax bill, most of it goes to the schools. And I believe that their bill goes up, I want to say 5% a year. That's pretty steep, pretty steep. We've got some good schools, we've got nice facilities, but we have high property taxes. So you obviously care about that. If we can keep population in Pekin, then we can spread out the tax paying burden among everyone. But if we lose taxpayers, that makes the burden even more on each individual family.
Great. We have come to that time. We've been at this 55 minutes, and so we're going to wrap up. So for a minute and a half closing statements, we're going to start with Mary Burress.
Well, once again, thank you for each and every one of you being here. This is wonderful. This is what we need. Citizen engagement, uniting us all together to grow a better Pekin. If you are looking, as I am, to focus forward in a new direction, focus on the next 40 years, not the previous past 4. I'm your candidate, Mary Burress. If you are looking for communication, for uniting, for leadership, focusing forward, I am your candidate, Mary Burress. I would love to ask for each and every one of you's support tonight. Make sure you vote either early or on time, April 4th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Becky Cloyd?
Embrace the change. We all have a fear and faith element within us. If my fear voice is greater than my faith voice, then my fear of failure and adversity will stop me. But if my faith voice is larger, my fear voice will be minimized. So how do you minimize the fear voice? By activating your faith. The more I operate in the do it zone, I operate less in the I can't do it zone. The question isn't can I, the question is how can I? I've already accepted the fact that I'm going to fail many times in my life. I've made mistakes, but those failures are what have made me what I am today. The fear of failure is real because I make mistakes, I make bad decisions, but I know it is on the trials of bad stuff that helps me to handle the big stuff. If you never handle the bad stuff, you'll never get the big stuff. Whenever a leader has gone wrong, it's almost always because they failed to value the people they led. So what did they do? They started manipulating people through their authority so they could move people for their own personal advantage. We have a leadership crisis today, and that's more of a manipulation problem. If I value people, then I will not put my needs first. I'll not manipulate them or violate them because I value them as a person. When you talk about faith and you think about Jesus, he was the greatest leader that ever lived because he valued people. Faith allows you to be bigger on the inside than you are on the outside, and I value you. I ask for the opportunity to serve as your next mayor.
Thank you, Becky. And we're going to wrap up with Dave Nutter.
Save the best for last. I love it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stand in between here. This is my pitch. You can vote for the beauties, or you can vote for the beast. So, on the piano is my plan. I have a plan. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're gonna fail. Now, are you gonna fail along the way? You can. But you learn from the mistakes, you pick it up, and you move on. You praise, you communicate, you thank people. You've got to listen to the people. You got to communicate, and communicate. So you plant a seed, you water it, let it grow, and then you harvest it. And it doesn't happen overnight. This dissension that we've had in the council didn't just happen overnight. I was on there when it started. I've been in the middle of it, and I think it is not right, and it's not going to continue. It will stop. Vote for me for mayor. It's going to stop, and it's going to stop immediately. There's a plan. Talk to me about it. It's not perfect, but it's a plan, and we have never had one. We've asked for 4 years. We still don't have a plan. So thank you for all of you coming tonight. Thank you for the organization that put this together, and I look forward to the one on the 23rd. There'll be another one. Thank you for coming. Appreciate your support. Have a good evening.
Thanks for the compliment, Dave.
I guess I was going to ask to give you a round of applause, but you did that. So give yourselves a round of applause for sticking through this. Thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance. Before you leave, please remain silent and quiet.
I'll be fast. I want to add my thanks on behalf of all the sponsoring organizations for you being here tonight. This will be on YouTube, on the League Women Voters of Greater Peoria's YouTube channel. So if you want to share it with your friends, go ahead and do that. Thank you all for being here, and be sure you support all the supporting organizations. Thanks so much.
Thank you.